Hello, my name is Dr. Samuel Arthur Mielcarski, also known as the Health Raiser, and today I want to help you raise your level of health by talking to you about an expression that I hear people say a lot, and that is, as it pertains to their health, well, hey, everything in moderation, right? Let's talk about that. Let's have a little bit of fun, and please don't get too serious about this topic, but it is really important to consider that phrase, well, everything in moderation. First of all, it's a very loose term and people can define it many different ways. For example, somebody can say, hey, I only had 1 cup of coffee, everything in moderation. Now for somebody else, their cup looks more like this. And because it all fits in one place, they call it a cup. And obviously, that big jar right there is not moderation at all, is it? But in some people's head, it is. So that's the first issue with everything in moderation. It's interpretation. Now next, when everything in moderation becomes a mantra that people run in their head constantly, day in and day out, it no longer becomes moderation. So they might eat something on one day and justify it by saying, hey, everything in moderation. And then the next day, they're drinking maybe something they shouldn't be drinking. And then the next day, they're partaking in another behavior that is not in their best interest in alignment with their health goals. So you see what ends up happening, this everything in moderation mantra ends up becoming a daily habit. And it's a habit that's not in alignment with their goals or the things that they say they want in their life. Now, the next thing with everything in moderation, especially in the world that we live in today, is we have a lot of extremes of things. There are a lot of things we can't control. We're under constant bombardment and stress with electromagnetic things and visual and auditory stimuli and certain chemicals. And so everything in moderation, well, we don't have moderation in the world today. So sometimes it's in our best interest to use our conscious choice and actions to not add to that burden that we already have to deal with. So there's some things out there that we can't control, but the things that we can control, we probably should, right? Because truly moderation would mean that you wouldn't want to constantly do things that are harming you. And it's really interesting, if we look at an example on the outside of the body, let's say you picked up a hammer and you just smacked yourself in the leg with it, but you only did it moderately, but it caused pain and some inflammation and it hurt, and then a few days later, yeah, you did it again. And then you cut back the frequency and maybe you just did it once a week. Once a week you just smack yourself in the same spot, but you only do it in moderation. You don't swing the hammer really hard, you don't tap it really light, it's just in moderation. Would you really wonder after a while why your leg's not healing? Probably not, right? Because you keep irritating it and it never gives a chance to heal. Now unfortunately, this is what ends up happening to some people on the inside of their body because of certain choices, behaviors, and habits. They are actually in moderation doing things to the inside of their body that's actually preventing them from finally healing or reaching a higher level of health. Now, a great example of this is somebody with an autoimmune disorder or chronic digestive problems or even a chronic pain syndrome. And they start to engage in behaviors, whether it's something they're eating or what time they're going to bed or things that they're drinking or how they're breathing even. And they do these things and they're just done in moderation, but they're done in a way that actually is causing the inside of their body to not be able to heal itself. Now, it's interesting because when you can see it on the outside of the body, it becomes more clear of what's happening. But sometimes when things are on the inside, people don't necessarily see them. And that's really important to remember. Now, I think a better term than everything in moderation is probably to say everything in balance. We want to try to keep our health in balance. And in past videos, I've talked about what I call the essential 8 links for optimum health and healing. And these are basic things that nature provides us that we have to pay attention to. Now, when one of the links becomes out of balance with the rest, you may have to pay a little bit more attention to that. But overall, you want to keep all 8 of those factors in balance. They're all equally important, and one is no more important than another one in the overall picture of health. And when you keep those 8 links in balance, then you'll find that your health truly thrives. It really does. So I hope that this video made you think today, And I would love to hear your thoughts about everything in moderation and see what your experience has been on that. And I look forward to your comments below. Again, my name is Dr. Samuel Arthur Mielcarski, also known as the Health Raiser, and I'm wishing you much love.